Hi, my loves. I hope you look good. So to my loyal followers, hi, and to those who are new, interested in following me, hi. Um, you also need to know that you are not forced to follow me. You're not forced to watch my videos. You're not forced to agree with any single thing that I say. You're not even forced to like, right? People decide to watch my videos and then talk about how I think I'm better. No, you don't have to watch the videos. Like it's just that. You don't have to watch it. If you do choose to watch it, just know that I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not. It's who I am. As authentic and as raw as they come. So you either hate me. There are two things that will happen when you follow my page. You'll either hate me or you'll love me. That's just it, right? And many people started by hating me. But it doesn't matter. All that matters is that the message gets out there. All right, if you do decide to follow, when you do address me, please don't address me as Gogo Mkulu Amaputi. That's it. That's my name. Let's use my name. My ancestors prefer you to use my name when you address me. Number two, if you're interested in consulting with me, there are three pinned videos. There are three pinned videos on TikTok, which I would like you to go through. On YouTube, you'll find them by name. The first one is how to book a consultation with me, what you need to know. Number two, my mentorship program and what you need to know. Number three, the one that describes my character, that I'm not nice. So that when you come to me, you're not expecting a God or a miracle or this nice and loving light being. No, I'm not. Not love and light here. Right? And so with that, please go through those videos before you contact me for consultations. And those who have watched the videos and you would want to proceed with the consultation, how do you book a consultation? You can inbox me on TikTok, or you can email me using the link on TikTok, or on YouTube. There's my email written in my bio. There is a website link on TikTok that you can go through to it. When you get to the website, you can view the prices, but please, if you are going to email me or send me a message directly from the website, be direct as to what you want. Don't ask me how to book a consultation when you're already on the website. It's there, it's clear. You only inbox me if you want to proceed with the consultation. And those who message me wanting to proceed to book and I message you back and then you decide you don't want to respond to me, before you decide to message me, don't bother me. Just like decide, are you ready? Do you have the money? If you don't have the money, leave it there. There's no need to email me. There's no need to do all those things. All right, especially if you know the prices. Those who can email me are the ones that don't know the prices. Okay, fine. There are terms and conditions you will have to agree to, and many people have turned away from consulting with me after the terms and conditions. The terms and conditions are also on the website for those of you who would want to get yourself acquainted with them before you proceed. Right? Everything is done by the spirit and legally here. Okay. We are back. I'm continuing the Goddess series. I thought this was going to be the last lesson, but as I was writing it, I realized that there might be another lesson that I might have to do with this. But we'll hear from the higher beings and what they say, right? Okay. The videos that you would want to go watch in order to understand this is: you are ready to enter your divine union. That is a woman sitting on an empress chair in a purple dress or something like that. It's written Empress. That's the cover of the video. The title is You Are Ready to Enter Your Divine Union. Number two, divine sexual gifts. The divine sexual gifts video It is a cover with 3 women in white, and another woman is sitting and they are holding her. That's the cover. The goddess alchemy 1, 2, and 3. The first goddess alchemy is a woman sitting between 2 pillars holding a book, a goddess, and it's written high priestess. I don't remember the cover of 2 and 3, but the titles are there. The fourth, divine codes of money. The divine codes of money, the cover, it is a woman and a man holding hands with, like, they're moving forward, but you only see their backs. And the man's grandmother is wearing a blue apron, and the woman's grandmother is wearing a pink apron, and they're looking at them, right? That's the cover. Please listen carefully to the covers, because then I don't want anyone in the comments now saying, what is the cover, guys? Please help me. I'm clearly articulating the cover. On YouTube, the covers might be different, especially for the old videos. Just go through the title. The fifth, the yoga of celibacy. That's the 10 of cups. That's a man and a woman, and kids are playing, and there are 10 cups on a rainbow. That's the cover. Number 6, twin flames versus soulmates. There's a black couple holding each other, right? There's like goldish, orangish around them. Number 7, soul initiation and divine initiation. That's a black couple in white. That's a recent video. And the last one, the dark feminine goddesses faces, and there's the goddess energy and feminine, and there's the goddess Kali in red, and there's a man sitting in front of her, right? That's the videos. Now, divine union, the path to godhood. That's our message today. Divine union, the path to godhood. What is divine union? Let's start with that. What is divine union, right? In the yoga of celibacy, I've touched on it. The twin flame versus soulmate, I've touched on it. I've touched on those videos. Right. So this is a union that is much more than just romantic. Divine unions are much more than romantic unions. It is a sacred marriage that creates wholeness. It is the merging of the humans into godhood. And it's the sacred marriage of duality to create the oneness, the whole, the God, the divinity, right? Now, the thing about divine union is that in the soulmate versus twin flame versus soulmate video, I talked about this. Before a divine union can take place, you need to go into a union with yourself, right? There needs to be a divine union that happens within you before a union can happen. Now, the purpose of divine unions is to help us to become gods. I am going to touch a little bit on what other purpose of the divine union is. But before you can enter into a divine union, you have to go into a union with yourself. And the first steps of doing that, hence that's why many of you are going through your soul initiation. It is because the first steps to divine union is entering a divine union with yourself, the Trinity within. And that process, it is initiated through your soul initiation. That is when you will be able to enter into a union state with yourself, right? What do I mean about that? Every single person has the masculine and the feminine. We all have an equal amount of the yin and the yang, right? We all have the yin and the yang, not in equal amounts. Sorry, we don't have it in equal amounts. Some people have more of a higher yin, other people have less of a yang. Other people, the scale is tipped in the other direction, right? So now what happens when you enter a divine union? You need to create the Holy Trinity, right? The Holy Trinity is the uniting and the merging of your masculine and your feminine sides, merging with the divine light, which is the light at the top, which creates the pyramid, the Holy Trinity. That merging has to happen within you first. And once that merging has happened within you, you have found the divine union within yourself, then, only then, you can then go merge with another human being who has found the same process within themselves as well. Right? So now, many of you are at the process of the innate divine union. You are going through the innate divine union with yourself, where you are merging the feminine and the masculine and the divine light, creating the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. Once the Holy Trinity has been created within yourself, then you become a temple. Right now, one of the first thing on your soul journey that your ancestors will ask of you is to go on a celibacy journey. The reason why they're asking you to go on a celibacy journey is because the divine light can only dwell in pure temples, because your body is a temple, and it is in this temple where the Holy Trinity presides, right? And your body can only dwell, the Holy Trinity, union of the Holy Trinity, can only reside in a pure temple. And hence, that's why you have to cut sexual cords, to remove the impurities out of your womb, to remove the impurities out of your energetic field, to remove the impurity, the sexual cords and the sexual energies and all these other energies that are attaching to you using sexual intercourses. Now, for those who are new, that's not to say sex is bad. Sex is not bad. Sexual intercourse is not a bad thing, right? It is just that it is good. It is in terms of higher initiation. It is used for certain periods. And even certain people who are couples, I have couples on my program, my mentorship program, who are going on the celibacy journey. Not because I told them to do it, but because their ancestors told them to do it. Some, even before it came up in a consultation, they were already on their celibacy journey, right? And so that's the first step to Godhood. And many of them are starting to see the benefits. And as I told you in the yoga of celibacy, that in the ancient temples, the masters and the beings and the elders, they knew that when a man needed to connect properly, to bring down wealth, when their wife was either pregnant or whatever, men used to take pilgrimages to the mountain for a particular time and practice seasonal celibacy, because that's how they would restore their connection and clear out their energetic field and be able to create stability for their family. Okay, right? And then the other step, the other thing that you will go through in the merging and creating of that Holy Trinity, you have to go through the Kundalini awakening, right? Now, FYA, the Kundalini sits at the base of the spine, right? It's an energy that sits at the base of the spine. Now, we look at it as a form of a snake. In the Hindi, they look at it as a form of a snake. In many esoteric or many ancient religions, we look at it as a snake, right? Hence, that's why the snake is also the symbol of life. Now, the Kundalini, when it rises, it can rise from the base into one chakra. That's a Kundalini awakening. The Kundalini can first start awaken and start having activity at the bottom of the spine, right? At the base chakra. It can start having activities for years. It will just be busy there in the base, right? And that's already a Kundalini awakening. It can then rise and move to the next chakra and raise its head, and that is still activity. So you can, as a human, go through multiple Kundalini awakening until it reaches the crown chakra, right? And each step it takes, that's an awakening. So it's not like we go through one Kundalini awakening. No, many people have multiple Kundalini awakenings, right? So you will go through many Kundalini awakenings during your soul initiation. So you might experience it, you might not experience. Some Kundalini awakenings very hard on the body and you can feel them. Some are subtle. For people who are doing deep spiritual work and have done deep healing, hardly, and I repeat, they hardly feel their Kundalini awakening because there's no issues. It's just energy that starts moving. They can feel something changing, but they don't go through life-changing experiences. No. Many people don't. Many people have actually had their Kundalini awaken, and yet they don't even know it. Because it's not everyone who will feel it. Right? The third thing that needs to happen is that you need to know your divinity. You as an individual. Before you can merge with another person in divine union, you as an individual, you need to know your own divinity. You need to know who you are. Hey, my throat is still struggling from it. Right? You need to know your own divinity. You need to know who you are. Now, what I meant this is who you are on a soul level, not the physical body. This is just skin. You need to know who you are on a physical level. You need to know who you are on a soul level, on an emotional level. You need to know your own godhood. Before you can go merge with someone to become a god, you need to know your godhood potential. You need to know where you come from. You need to know what planets you come from. Sometimes in consultation, it comes up very clear that, no, this person is from Atlantis. No, this person is from a planet. Sometimes they don't give me the names clearly. They will be like, no, they're from a particular star system. And the star system is mainly water or whatever, you know? And I'll be like, oh, okay. Sometimes they would even give the name of the goddesses or the god that a particular person works with. Sometimes they would even give their own godhood and say this person is from this planet and their godhood is this. But that's also dependent on the amount of work that has been done, because there are certain people that some information came up. They had the information, they knew it was true, but they were not ready for it. And that kind of created, when you understand who you are, because even with me, when my divinity was revealed to me, when my divinity was revealed to me, I struggled. I struggled for some time with accepting it. Because I understood the responsibility, number one, that was being told to me. Number two, it just felt like a lot. I was just asking to know if I'm going to heaven. I'm so ready. I've been in the sun for a long time. I was just asking if I'm going to heaven. That's all I wanted to know. And now they're telling me all these things, which now tells me that I have so much responsibility on earth and blah, blah, blah. And I was just ready to I just wanted to finish this initiation and be done with it and go live my life. But now when I heard that, I was like, ah, damn it. There's no way this thing is ever going to end. Like, clearly this is going to be a lifelong thing for me. So I didn't take it well. I was angry for some time. And then I kind of got used to it. I accepted it, but I still was not accepting it. And it is hard for many people. When you don't know yourself, you're okay with not knowing yourself. But when you come to a point where you know yourself and know who you are, you also understand the magnitude of your responsibilities. And then you also understand that to those whom much is given, much is required. And it just feels like, why? Why must I save the world? Why? Why me? Right? I remember asking myself, like, no, are there no other people who can do this job? No, me, I'm done. I don't want to do this. Especially when they now started with the whole TikTok business. I was like, right? So you need to know your divinity. You need to go through your ancestral healing. You need to pass earth, and then you need to merge with the light within you. And then only then will you be able to enter into a divine union. Okay, let's move on. All right, divine union. Right, let's go through 4 points. I wrote 4 points here. I think maybe I'm just going to repeat myself, but let's go through them because I wrote them. When two souls who have found their own individual union within themselves and created the Trinity, and they meet and they unite beyond ego, passion, and standards of the world in a ceremonial union. There's a ceremony that happens that accompanies divine union, right? Now, also, number 2, their marriage is seen by the gods as a divine partnership to ensure fertility, order, and continuation of the Godhood lineage. Hence why the final stages and steps of divine union, it is always to birth a god. Number 3, this is an eternal love, an eternal union, which will never end. And hence why the ancestors and the higher angels do the choosing of the partnering. They do the choosing themselves. And you will just have to accept who they choose for you. But the most beautiful thing about their choice is that they choose a partner who you will be able to merge with on a romantic, spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical level. Many of the relationships that we choose for ourselves, we only merge on a physical level. The emotional union is missing. The mental union is missing. The spiritual union is missing. The romantic is there, but in a default way. Because usually once the physical feelings die off, the romantic passes out. But on a divine union, you will merge with this person on a romantic level, meaning on a love level, a pure love level, on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, on a mental level, and on a physical level. You will experience all those merging, and many people have never ever experienced those things in their entire existence. And I see it sometimes with certain of the healers that work with me. They don't know what a deep spiritual connection is. And so when they merge with someone, when they connect with someone on a spiritual level during a consultation, they kind of get confused and think, is this a romantic? What's happening? Why do I feel like this? I've never even felt like this with the person I'm in a relationship with. Or what is happening to me? Because many people just don't know what a spiritual connection sounds like. And many spiritual people confuse that for love. And it's not. Hence, that's why you have healers who have dated or been in a relationship with their clients and it didn't go anywhere. It is because sometimes when you're doing a consultation, you get an overwhelming connection on a spiritual level with the person you're doing the consultation for. Right? And at first it can get confusing when you don't know yourself and you'll be like, wait, am I in love with this person? Because it's so deep, you can even start to cry. But as time goes, you realize you get the same connection with the baby. Like when you're doing a consultation for a child, you get the same connection with the child. And then you realize that, no, this is just a spiritual connection. Some spiritual connection happen on a deeper level depending on the level of godhood that the being you are consulting is on. Number 4, it is the coming together. They are coming together in divine union. The coming together in divine union usually awakens a new set of love, a new way of love that transcends human experience. And it is very transformative, not just transformative to the couple, but transformative to the people who also are observing them and looking at them. It is because it's the union that creates the gods and goddesses, right? Now, let's look at the different unions. We don't have examples of people that have went into a divine union. I don't have those examples. So for me, the best place to learn about divine union, it is the gods and goddesses in mythology. That's the best place. That's where I've went to learn, because I'm learning in that level, because that's where I'm going. That is where I'm aspiring to. I'm aspiring for godhood. So the best people to teach me what the union is will be the gods and the goddesses. All right, let's go back to Hinduism. All right, let's go back to Hinduism. In the Goddess Kali video, I talked about the union between Kali and Shiva, and Lord Shiva and Goddess Kali, right? I've explained their story and their mythology a little bit there. So if you're new here, please go there and watch their mythology and watch that video, right? Now, Lord Shiva is pure consciousness, is stillness, but the stillness that's not moving. It only has potential. That's the energy he embodies. He embodies stillness that is non-moving. So that's the energy that he embodies. Shakti, right? Shakti, who is the embodiment, who has many faces. The faces is Parvati, the other face is Daga, the other faces is Kali, the other faces is Mahadvya, has 5 faces or more faces, because she portrays herself in many faces depending on the situation that she has. And this is why women, no matter what happens in the world, a woman can never be the same. And this is where many men get it wrong, that as a woman you're supposed to be in one face. Lord Shiva doesn't have multiple faces. Many of the gods only have one face that they come in. Maybe there's the one where they are angered. They might have a different side, but they usually, the maximum is 2 sides. But the goddesses, in all mythologies, the goddesses can take 5, 6 forms, because that is the being of a woman. In 1 month, a woman can be 5 people, depending on the situation that she finds herself in. And because society fears and men do not know how to deal with these types of a woman, and this is where gods come in. A man who's ready to be a god, like Lord Shiva, is able to handle the different faces of Shakti and control them. In all of the mythologies of Goddess Shakti and all of her different faces, Lord Shiva plays a particular role. Just like how I told you that when Goddess Kali comes in her cleansing, transformation, destructive order, right? The only person who can stop her is Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva needs to be in his own wholeness. He needs to be able to understand that in one mistake, she can eliminate him. And he needs to be able to know how to control himself. And the only way that he knew how to stop it, he had to be intelligent. And he knew that the only way to stop Kali is if she were to think that I'm dead. Right? That's the only thing that will wake her up. So that's where the union starts. We go back to that question that I raised a while back, where I asked, what is the purpose of men for coming on the earth? Because the earth was created by the 7 dragon mothers. For those who are new here, go watch the videos. The earth, it's one of the menstrual videos. It's the one with Medusa, right? The earth, Medusa, and it's in blue on the cover. The earth was created by the 7 dragon mothers. Not only that, it's statistically proven that a woman can conceive without a sperm. You can go Google it. It has been proven. Not only that, it's been proven that the male chromosome is getting extinct. So now that made me raise a question to the men to say that if they were not part of the creation, and if beings and humans can be created on earth without their sperms, and if they are going extinct because they are not living their purpose. And what is their purpose on earth? Right? What is their purpose on earth? One of the purposes is that they should get into divine unions with goddesses, but they need to find the God within themselves. And finding the God within yourself is knowing how to handle a goddess. And the first step is being submissive to a goddess. Because a goddess doesn't submit. A goddess doesn't submit. A goddess can't be controlled. A goddess can never be belittled, and a goddess must be allowed to experience herself in all her forms. And you need to embody the energy of Shiva within you so that you are able to be able to handle the different phases of the goddesses. But this is where patriarchy came in, because they were afraid of the different phases of the goddesses, because when Kali comes in, the man can't stop her. When goddess Kali wakes up, when the rage and anger of a woman comes out, many men don't know what to do with it and can't handle it. And with that, their first default, it is to control her, submit her, and oppress her, and tell her to listen to them. And hence that's why the world has become what it is today. Even in the great mythology of Lord Shivas, of the Hindu mythologies, the gods were losing the battle. And it was only when Kali came in that the battle was won. Okay? So, as I said, Shiva is pure consciousness, right? He is stillness, but no movement is happening. Nothing. With just like Adam, if Eve didn't do anything, what's her name? Lilith didn't do anything, because I told you Lilith and Eve are the same person. If Lilith didn't do anything to go get the snake and door, whatever that whole thing, mythology, if nothing like that happened, Adam will still be in the garden today. Just like Shiva. Shiva is stillness, but that's not moving. It has potential for greatness, but it needs Shakti. Shakti is energy, movement, and manifestation. It needs the energy, the movement, and the manifestations of a goddess. And this is why many men only become billionaires, only become rich when they have the right woman, when they have the proper woman with them, right? When they have an awakened woman. And majority of the most successful men have really, really in tuned spiritually women within their home, and they don't even try and control them. They allow them to be who they are. Right? Shiva alone is stillness without motion. Shakti alone also is chaos, energy without direction. Right? Together they form the universe itself. Because when the soul of Shiva merges with Shakti in divine union, the divine energy of creation is released. Right? Now, pay attention. I said that when their soul merges with each other, the universe is created, not the earth. The universe is created, where then planets are then created, and earth can be created. Right? So when Shiva and Shakti unite, they unite in union that creates a universe. Let's go to Egypt. Egypt, I'm going to cover a few, because on the last video, I mainly focused on Hindi, and I didn't touch a lot in the Egypt mythology. In my sleep, they were telling me that why did I leave the Mesopotamian goddess Inan out of this? Inan, I kept hearing her voice, why did you leave goddess Inan? Oh, people, now the goddesses are like, no, why are you leaving me? Why didn't you not include me? Oh my goodness. All right, in the next lesson, I will touch on the goddess Inan. I will touch on the Mesopotamian mythology in the next lesson. All right, Egypt, Nut and Geb, right? They represent the sky and the earth. Nut is the sky goddess. She is the order over the world that covers, right? She covers the world with her sky. So meaning that she is the feminine above. And Geb is the earth, the god that lies beneath her. The myth says that they were lovers, but their father, Shu, separated them to maintain cosmic balance. But then every night, Nut will then swallow the sun in divine union, and in each morning she will then give birth to it again. Right? The union of Nut and Geb is the cycle of birth and rebirth. Birth and rebirth that every human goes through. We birth, we die, but then there's a rebirth as well. Because every god needs to go through the cycle of birth and rebirth in order to find their godhood. Hence, that's why we go through multiple reincarnations. Okay, next one, Isis and Osiris. Right? Isis and Osiris. This is the union of love, death, and resurrection. Nut and Geb is birth and rebirth. Isis and Osiris is love, death, and resurrection. Right? Not rebirth, resurrection. Right. Now, Isis is the great mother goddess. She is the embodiment of magic, healing, and devotion. Osiris is the god of fertility, order, and the afterlife. Right? And their mythology is the other thing, before we get into the mythology, the other thing is that Osiris and Isis, there was something specific that I've always loved about their story. It is because their union is that of partnership. Isis was never below Osiris. She was actually, they were both on the same level, right? And that is in divine. In divine union, no one is above the other. We are on the same level, but we play different roles. Not the roles that the patriarchy system told us, that the woman stays at home and all she has to do is make babies and the man goes to work. No. We all play our own individual different roles. Right? So they had a love of partnership. Now, their mythology is that Osiris was murdered by his jealous brother, who is, what's his name? That one, Seth. And Seth cut Osiris into multiple pieces and scattered his body all over the universe, right? The galaxy. Isis searched for all of Osiris's body parts, and then she managed to find all of them. And when she found them using her magic, she then created she brought him back to life, if I remember correctly, or didn't bring him back to life, but using her magic, she was then able to conceive a child. And that is when Horus was conceived, because the divine union, one of the elements of divine union is that we create gods after we unite, right? The union of Isis and Osiris is about the love that transcends death, because divine unions is an eternal union of love, and their sacred marriage is about continuation and resurrection, because a divine union is a never-ending marriage. And the birth of Horus, their child, is a symbolism of the renewal of the royal god bloodline. Because Seth wanted to stop that bloodline, and because the reason why people have not been getting into divine unions, it is because the system wanted to stop the birth, the continuation of the heavenly royal bloodline. Okay. The other one is Sekhmet and Path. I thought I was not going to include Sekhmet in the last video. I said I was not going to include her, but then, as I said, goddesses and gods are complaining, like, why are you leaving us out? Sekhmet and Path, right? This is the fire and creation. Right? Sekhmet, just like Kali, is the goddess of destruction, cleansing, and healing. Path is the god of creation, craftsman, and order. Right? Now, he creates worlds through thought and speech. Now, on a side note, this is where they took the line that says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Right? They were talking about Path. because that is the embodiment. He creates worlds with his thoughts and in his word. And every time he brings out a word, a world is created, a planet is created. Their union produced Nephtam, the goddess of youth and the one who's associated with the lotus flower, renewal and beauty. Right? So I call her by a different name when I meet her, but that's because I know her beyond the mythology. And yeah, there's a little bit of a relationship there. One day I'll share. All right, and then we have Hathor and Horus. Right, Horus, the son of Isis and Osiris. We have Horus and Hathor. Hathor, she's the goddess of love, joy, music, and fertility. Horus is the falcon-headed god in the Egyptian mythology. The falcon-headed god is him. Wait, what? Oh, messages are coming in. They say I have an appointment. No, I don't have any appointment. All right, and he is the god of kinship, right? And as I said, the son of Isis and Osiris. Now, the union between Horus and Hathor represents the divine marriage of love and rulership, which ensures fertility of the land, success of the kingship, and the royal bloodline. Right? Because every single god comes from a royal bloodline, a pure royal bloodline. Whether it's that of water, whether it's that of land, but every single god comes from a pure royal bloodline. Many of you don't know that about yourself, but I come into consultations and people, I'm like, you're from royal blood? And like, no, I didn't know that. Or they were I don't know, I've heard something like that. I myself didn't know anything about my royal bloodline. I didn't even know that I was a pure-blooded royal. Had no idea. Right. Now, what is the purpose of divine union on an earth level? On an earth level, what is the purpose of divine union? Because it is not about passion, love. It has nothing to do with it. Well, it does have at some point, but that's not the purpose. It's not a marriage where you enter because you just met this guy or you met this girl and you felt infatuated by them and now you want to be in a relationship with them. Right? Now, as much as we also enter these unions for Godhood, there is added effects that happen in this union that benefit the earth. Now, and there is the reason why many of us have to go through these unions. It is because the more people enter into divine unions, the more the earth heals. Right? The more the gods and the goddesses unite within themselves, they anchor certain light codes on the earth and upgrade their DNA. In return, they upgrade the DNA of the earth. When the gods and the goddesses unite in divine union, they then crystallize their energy and transmute their divinity and power onto the earth. And when they bring forth on earth a god, different gods as their children, then they're able to create something, right? So from the mythologies, from the different mythologies that I've just read, we have number one, the purpose of divine union, it is that of creation and fertility. The union, right? The divine union is that of fertility and creation. It brings gods to earth who will help the earth to transcend into the 5D and into the 12D. Now, when two people, divine beings, have united in a divine union, a god is born. Now, the new wave of gods that are going to be born within the divine union are different from the gods that have been born recently, the ones that have been born in other dimension, right? I have been in consultation where maybe I'm doing a consultation for a child, and it clearly said that this is a god reincarnated on earth. Like these ones are not trying to be gods or here to learn to be gods. No, this one is a god who has come on earth to just pick up a few things and they're out. Or they're God here to just enter into a divine union that elevates them into a different status of godhood. And I'll be like, oh, okay. All right. Oh, good. Okay. I've come across many kids like that, right? I hardly see that in adults. Adults mainly, they have the potential for godhood. It is only a few adults that I've seen are actual gods and goddesses. They also just need to just enter into their divine union and fulfill certain missions on earth. But I'm coming across a lot of kids who are gods. But these are kids not born into divine unions. Or maybe the parents have not yet entered into a divine union. The ones that come after divine union, those are on a different level. Those are something else, right? And it is in their energy and in the work that they will come to do on earth that the earth will transcend to the 5D. And eventually, people think we only end at the 5D. No, the reason why earth is at its perfect, it's like no other galaxies like it is because it has the potential to get to the 12D and become like the heaven, the source. It has the potential to become like the source planet where the source mother and the source father and the seraphims and all those people preside. Earth has that potential and it's going there. But in order for us to get there, we need a certain type of gods to be born on earth. Gods and goddesses to be born on earth. Number 2, the purpose of divine union on earth, it is the balancing of the opposite sides. Right? Its purpose is to create cosmic order, balance, and truth, which will then stop the war, bring order and harmony into the earth. Right? Such unions, they bring a force that stops the deaths, the wars, the chaos. Remember in the video, I think the video is titled, I think it's, is it the True Knowledge video part 1 or part 2? No, it can't be part 1. I think it's part 2. Oh, is it that one where I tell you about how they create the chaos out of order? They create the Freemasonries or whatever. They create the chaos, and then after they've created the chaos, they come in to create the solutions. They come in to create the solutions. Order out of chaos, right? They create the order out of the chaos that they've created. This is where the war. They start the war. They start the plagues, the sicknesses, the viruses. They bring them. They manufacture all those things, just like AIDS, how it was manufactured, COVIDs, and all these viruses, how they've all been manufactured. And then they come with the vaccines. The vaccines that are supposed to manipulate the DNAs. Or like AIDS, it's supposed to kill the black race. Right? So they create all these things. They create the manipulation of the food to make sure that our melanin decreases, because I told you melanin is not a skin color. Melanin is a DNA thing. Melanin is innate within your DNAs. Right? So they create all these things. So the union of the gods in divine unity, it is also that union comes in and stops these things, Hence, that's why every single thing in the world is created to make you not be in a position to enter into a divine union. The first thing, they sell sex to you like it's just a normal thing, because they know that the more sexual you are, the more disconnected you become. If you're constantly having sex every single day, you become desensitized. Not only that, but if you're sleeping with multiple partners, you create cords, right? And so they create, not only that you can contract diseases, you have to be taking these contraceptives that are chemicals in your body that still add. So the layers, they keep adding all these things. Not only that, you get to a point when you don't even appreciate who you are. As a woman, you struggle with your body, you struggle with feeling loved, you struggle with, there's this also thing where we ghost each other, we don't commit, we emotionally available in relationship. There's too many chaos that's happening. Or we're just having kids everywhere. Men have babies that they don't take care of. Women, there's so many women are just having multiple baby daddies because of one thing. And it all starts in the sexual energy. So now they know that if they create all these chaoses, you will never ascend to godhood, because there's purification processes that you have to go through. And many people don't have the patience for the purification processes. Just like how many people don't even have the patience to listen, to go through their healing. And that's what keeps you guys getting stuck, right? Now, when the gods and the goddesses unite and create the Holy Trinity within themselves, and then come and merge with each other, they bring an energy in the world. And this energy by default already purifies the earth, already stops the war, already removes the chaos and brings a balance and harmony. And truth is revealed. The more the unity within the self happens, the more truth we are seeing. Hence, that's why the more many people are uniting within themselves and going through their soul initiation, we have had a lot of things being exposed. At the peak of the soul initiation, things started being exposed. It's now normal. Now we are seeing through the illusions. Now we are seeing through the chaos that have always been created. Now you are seeing through every single thing. And so the more you work on that union with yourself, now imagine what will happen when we now start to get into divine unions. When even those who are already married, when they go through their divine unions, rituals and ceremony, imagine the amount of true knowledge that will come out. The gifts that we'll be able to activate. The harmony and balance and stillness that we'll be able to find. But you have to find those things within yourself before you can merge with someone and create it out in the world. Right? Lastly, kingship. The purpose of divine union on earth, even though it is for us to become gods, but one of the things is that the royal bloodlines are able to be purified. The earthly royal bloodline, the true royal bloodlines, are then able to be purified, and then they're able to reclaim their power and sovereignty and rulership, which then reflects the rulership in heaven, right? And so when the gods and the goddesses come together in union and unite in divine unions, who come from pure royal bloodlines and unite, they're then able to create a new dynasty, which is then, this dynasty is similar to the one in heaven, because eventually these two are going to be rulers of a heaven one day. They're going to be the ones that people say, God. Right, so this divine union, the purpose of divine union, it is also to sustain life on earth. And so that humans can be able to transcend earth and ascend into a higher dimension. And when such unions are created, the metric system collapses. You start to see the holes in the metric systems when such unions are created. And one way for us to get out of the matrix, it is through these unions, because it is through these unions that we will be able to ascend into the 5th D. And the more people get into these unions, the more we will be able to get into the 5D. Now, that doesn't mean, listen to me carefully, that doesn't mean that if you haven't gotten into a divine union with another person, you won't be able to make it to the 5D, to the new earth. No. You still need to get into union with yourself and merge and create the Holy Trinity, which then will create the Merkaba, which then will allow you to ascend. Create a new level of the Merkaba that will allow you to ascend when the rapture time comes. Not the fake rapture that everyone's talking about, but the true rapture. When it arrives, you will then be able, because you've created the Holy Trinity within you, the triangle, which then becomes multiple triangles. And then you will then be able to ascend into the 5D when the earth ascends. Right? You can do that on your own, but you still need to go to soul initiation. Not everyone on a soul initiation is a healer. Some are just normal people who are just preparing for the 5D, who are just preparing for the new earth. But there are certain people who need to get into divine union in order for us to achieve that. Some of you have to. You are what we are counting on. We are counting on you and your divinity and your royalty and your godhood, godness, goddesses and goddesses' power, potential to be able to do that. And we are counting on you to bring certain kids on earth that will able to anchor the earth and able to help us. Those who are coming from the 12D, who will be able to help us to ascend. Right? Not everyone is going to play this path, but there are many of you who have to walk this path, and it is your path. And I hope that you answer the call when it's given to you. Right? And I hope you guys are having a beautiful day, my loves. And I hope you all are finding light. Things are becoming lighter. That as I make these videos, that I'm helping you in one way or another. Right? There are those who hate me, who will never understand me. That's okay. We don't focus on those people. But I hope that to those who follow me and diligently watch and are here to learn, that you are finding things much more easier. That light is starting to illuminate you. The path is starting to make sense. And you are starting to feel a certain energy, even if the money is not there yet. But you are starting to feel a little bit lighter as you are on this path. And until next time, my love, I love you guys, and I hope you guys are having a good day, good morning, and good evening, and good night. Toodles.